Hey, welcome back to another episode of BurlyFishing. On this episode, we're doing a reel comparison. Abu to Abu. Which Abu Garcia reel in this price range do I like better? So we're comparing the Revo SX to the brand new Zata reels. I'm gonna tell you what I think about these two reels, having fished them now, fished this one for a real long time, and fished this one for the past week. I'll let you know kind of my initial thoughts on them, and maybe help you make a decision as well if you're in the market for a reel like one of these. Before we get to it though, guys, if you enjoyed the content, be sure to smash that like button on this video, ring the notification bell so you can see when we post more videos, and hey, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff. All right, let's get to it. First things first, two different gear ratios on this, just like my SLX, if you guys saw the SLX video. This one is a 6:6 to 1, so it's like the standard SX. This one is a 7:1 to 1. Again, all that means is that for every rotation of this reel, so one full rotation, that your spool, in this case, is rotating 6.6 times, in this case, 7.1 times. That's all that means. So if you want a faster gear ratio for some techniques, slower for other. Think of it as like a chatterbait style lure where you're fishing it fast in order to get it to vibrate. You kind of need that high gear ratio, or something you want to keep higher in the water column, maybe a spinner bait versus maybe a crankbait that you're trying to keep at a lower depth, or you want to be able to play, or maybe a jerk bait too. This right here I use for like flipping plastics and also jigs, and I'm cool with that lower gear ratio with this. Some people like a faster one there. You know, the fish that I got up here in the north, not a big deal. I don't need to fight them super fast, and the 6:6 to 1 works really well with that. Both these reels are around that 140 range, depending where you get them. I got this one for 140 right off of Amazon. I picked this one up at Cabela's a little over a year ago, I believe. I've been fishing with this one for a long, long time. And this one came in around, I think it was on sale for like 135. So right around that same price range. There's a difference as far as like the handles go. I think the Zatas are more well designed, and it's a little bit more of this like foam material. Some might not like that, right? These, it can get slick if it gets wet, versus you just have the standard like silicone or rubber that I have since covered up with these little caps that you don't need necessarily. Of course in red, white, and blue, that you have on the little handles there. So a little bit different. Your actual like reel handle is exactly the same, right? You guys can see that there. Star Drag's built the same. You have the exact same spool tension knob, maybe a little bit better on the Zata, right? And you guys know what I like. It clicks. It clicking makes such a big difference for me. So let's start with the Revo SX. I think that it's built well. It fits in the palm of my hand really easily, doesn't take up a lot of room, easy and comfortable to hold as you're reeling throughout the day. This is a heavier drag reel, so this is actually a 24-pound drag or max drag on this thing. So I actually rigged this up to my heavy stick. This is on the broom handle. This is the thing I go frogging with to wrench them out of the weeds, to flip in heavy cover. That is what I like this thing for. It's a heavier drag than the Zata by about 4 pounds. The Zata comes in at 20 pounds, which sets it apart a little bit. I'll say that even without maintenance, it's held up really well. Got to clean this sucker out. I will do that, I promise. Some of you reel cleaning nuts are pretty pissed at me probably for saying that. It's been over a year. Fished the heck out of this thing. Never cleaned it once. Got to do that. You got to do some maintenance on those reels. Usually nice reels like this will also come with like some oil, so I recommend that you do lube them up from time to time, take care of those bearings in there. Speaking of bearings, this is kind of a big difference from the Shimano reels that I compared. These guys have 11 bearings. There's a lot of bearings, right? So a little extra lube, a little extra maintenance probably goes a long way with that. But they also tend to be pretty dang smooth, I think. And in the case of the Zata, insanely smooth. Check out this clip of me fishing the Zata for the first time, and you'll see what I mean. Oh my gosh. Bye. That thing, it's like butter. Yeah. It's so buttery. Oh my gosh. I'm just a little bit excited. This reel is stupid. This has got to be like the smoothest reel I've ever used. And then here's a couple clips of me fishing the SX, which I've been fishing forever. And then we got a nice shallow cover here. There you go. Both pretty great reels, but let's check out the Zata real quick. So the Zata is real nice reel. Got your click system on the spool tension. Again, the spool tension is kind of important. Spool tension is something you're going to use depending on the weight of your lure. So a lighter lure, you can get away with a lighter spool tension, or if you're flipping or pitching sometimes, you can lighten the spool tension up so that you can easily just get that thing up to speed, get the line up to speed really fast. If you're casting long distance, like a heavier lure, or you're not as good at controlling the line with your thumb, then you're going to want to tighten the spool tension up. It'll save you a lot of hassle and a lot of bird's nesting. I did nest this thing up a few times, but that's because I just took it out of the box and just went for it, right? Not recommended. You should dial this thing in before you do it. I just didn't. I wanted to see what these things did out of the box. I will say that it handled really well. Like, it took me a minute on a very windy day to get this thing to actually nest up. After I dialed it in, it didn't nest up the entire rest of the day. And I was casting into the wind at times. It was, 14 to 16 mile an hour winds on this lake that we were fishing. If you guys saw in the video there, it was blustery, to say the least. Other things to think about with the Zata too is that I've heard negatives to this as well, so hear me out. This is a graphite body. So graphite body means that it's lighter weight, right? So it is a very light reel. Even compared to the Revo SX, this is much lighter. You can tell just by holding the two of them. If that matters to you, cool. If it doesn't, not a big deal. It's not really the selling point for me. It wasn't. I just wanted it because it was new, cool, and it looked nice, honestly. But I didn't know that it also casts so friggin' well. This thing is a workhorse. It casts really well. I think personally, the graphite's gonna hold up fine. We're gonna find out. Some people commented when I posted on Instagram, like, oh, it's graphite reel, it's gonna break down within a year. I give it a year, right? Well, I said the only way to find out, test it out for a year, see what happens. I think it's gonna survive. That's my bet, and I'll put it right here. And I'll come back and eat my words if it doesn't. You got a mag setting on the side, right? Easy turn, typical, nothing special there. Open close mechanism right here. So there's your magnets. This is replaceable. I'll tell you the problem I have with it in a second. You also got these little guys here so you can adjust your mag settings there as well. We're gonna kind of leave that alone because it's functioning really well right now, so we'll not screw it up. Here's a problem I have with these reels compared to, say, my Shimano's, right? On Shimano, the open and close settings way up here, and I don't know if you guys know this, but the side plates on these Shimano's don't come off. It's attached. Pretty sweet, right? That way you don't lose it over the side of your boat like I have. Check out this. Just to catch you guys up, this just happened. So a reel plate, this is part right here where normally you can pop this off, set the pins there for your magnetic braking system. I've been having issues with the button not staying switched closed, and I must have bumped it, and here we are. Fell in the water, it's gone. It's gone for good. I still have the majority of the reel, and that is a replaceable part, so I'm not gonna let it ruin my day. It was a pretty rough day on the water. That was this one. So this is actually an aftermarket side plate on my SX. Now it's fine. It's not the greatest. It's definitely, you can tell it's aftermarket. You can see how like beat up this part is versus this shiny, like almost a different glossier type finish, right? So it doesn't even look like it doesn't make sense. Like if you look at it up close, you're like, oh yeah, that doesn't belong, right? But it works, it's fine. The problem again that I have is I wish that this open close mechanism was in the front, not the back, and I wish it wasn't so easy to open. And like, why isn't the plate just attached? That would be nice, right? But it's not, and you got to be careful with these things. I have almost lost this plate over the side of my boat like a dozen times. Luckily enough, it only happened once, but it is 30 bucks to replace that side plate. Not ideal when you already spent $140 on a reel. Other thoughts, just like on the surface with this thing, I think it's pretty well built. There's like a little play at the front, but I think I can just tighten down that little front rod there. So maybe I can fix that, but there's a little bit of play to it. Not ideal. I was working chatterbait through the weeds like for 4 hours, like just same reel, same setup, just working this thing, getting through the weeds, leaning into it. We caught, you know, a dozen or so fish. We're working pike in through the weeds, like really fighting them. And this thing held up well. This thing is a beast, I believe. It's a definite workhorse. I like it a lot. Between the two, and these are at the same exact price point, right? Between the two, I think that the SX is a little bit more bomb-proof than the Zata. This definitely feels like it's gonna get pretty beat up. In fact, I guarantee it's gonna get beat up. I hope it doesn't break on me. I hope it doesn't fall apart. It looks like it has more moving pieces than the SX does, which makes it less bomb-proof, but it also looks pretty dope. It fishes really well. And honestly, between the two, I would probably pick the Zata over the Revo SX. I love the Revo series. I think that their upper end is pretty phenomenal, but this Zata series that they just dropped is just nuts. I love it. It casts like butter right out of the box. I've had no problem casting this thing like all day into the wind, right? You saw in the SLX comparison, you know, the DC is going to kind of protect you in a windy situation. This doesn't have a digital chip, but you don't need it. It just casts so well. It's got a 20-pound drag compared to the 24 that's on the SX, but you know, it gets the job done. It's got enough bearings. It's super smooth. It's just easy to fish with, and you know what? I love it. I love this thing. I think it's great. It's probably next to the DC, my favorite reel. It might even be my favorite reel over the DC. Eep! That's crazy. I love this thing. You guys should definitely go check it out. If you can't find it in stores, you can always check out on Amazon. I've seen it there a ton. But yeah, these two, first of all, these two are both great reels. Let me put it that way. But I think if you guys are on the market, maybe go check out the Zata series. I think it's pretty phenomenal. And if Abu tells you it's pronounced Zata, disagree. Zata is definitely a better way to say it. But hey, hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. If you guys are on the market for some new reels, you can check out this video. You can check out my SLX video. I'll put it up here in a card. One of those sides, I don't know what side it's on. But you can go check out the SLX comparison as well. We'll have more comparisons in the future. Maybe we do a bigger comparison with all of the Abu Garcia reels, because between myself and Paul, co-host of the Burly Fishing podcast, go subscribe. We've got a lot of those different reels from Abu. So maybe we compare a bunch of them and see, you know, what's the best at each price point. Could also check out the SLX XT and maybe do a full SLX line comparison. That might be cool too. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think about these two reels as well. What one was your favorite? Maybe you fished them. You tell me what you think is better, and if you think I'm crazy for choosing the Zata over the Revo SX. But hey, thanks for watching, you guys. You've been awesome. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe, smash that like button, ring that notification bell so you can see when we post more videos. I'm gonna go fish. See you guys on the water. Hey there, thank you so much for watching the video today. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to click this circle, wherever it is right here, to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to watch more videos or check out a playlist from me, you can check out this video over here, this general area, or this video over here. So you got lots of options.